Patterson. Jeff is Project Director of Courage to Resist, Steering Committee for the Bradley Manning Support Network, and a veteran and GI resistor himself. He can tell you more about that.
Hey, all right, Jeff. Woo!
Hey, thanks, Jeff. I'm among friends here, obviously. Oakland, my adopted hometown. I fled San Francisco finally after years of no parking. But briefly, Bradley Manning, Courage to Resist. We've done dozens of defense funds. We've helped hundreds of resistors. Some of our people, we win. They don't go to jail. Some of them, we don't win enough, and they end up doing a year, 18 months in a military prison for refusing to fight, for refusing to go along with the program quietly. But Bradley Manning is a case in its own different plane, where we're dealing with a life and death question, a question of whether this young man has a life or he spends the rest of his life in a military prison, facing life in prison for aiding the enemy, plus an additional 150 years. And that's the seriousness we've taken to this case over the last 2 years. When Bradley Manning was still in Kuwait in a military prison, we collectively made a promise to him that we would cover his entire legal fees if he selected a civilian attorney, because we knew it would take a civilian attorney to give him a fighting chance, even in a military court. And we only had about $2,000 in the bank. He took us up on that challenge, and so far, with the help of people just like you, we've paid $250,000 to keep an entire legal team working for the last 2 years. That sounds like a big number. It is. You can't buy a house around here, of course, for that, but still a big number. The attorney's assistants, the clerical staff, we have expert witnesses on forensic evidence. So people ask, well, are you challenging their evidence? And yes, we are challenging their evidence. We've met that, and now we have some hope. Going into the Article 13 hearing, we now know that when Bradley Manning was tortured, it wasn't just because of the guards, it was because of a conspiracy from a Pentagon-level general. And every level of the chain of command, those people followed illegal orders in punishing, torturing Bradley before his trial even started. And now there's hope. Now it's still a slim hope, but there's hope that justice will be served if the military judge is courageous enough to do the right thing, but we're going to have to wait and see. But there's hope, and that hope exists only because of people like you, what we're doing today, and our funding of Bradley Manning's legal defense team.
Action to send a message to the one person who has power to free Bradley Manning. They're getting together to ask President Obama to A, apologize for a comment he made last year prior to trial about Bradley Manning's guilt, and number 2, to ask that President Obama follow up on newly revealed evidence that the orders to torture Bradley, hold him in solitary confinement for 11 months, were actually coming from a 3-star general, somebody potentially in the Pentagon, which is very serious because that means the military lied to the public when they said it was for mental health reasons. So veterans in 3 cities are asking Obama campaign offices to fax this letter to the central office, and they're doing sit-ins. And I've just received word they've begun their action. So I would like to thank everybody very much for coming to our rally. I would now like to invite everybody who's willing to march down with us to the campaign office and show us their support from the outside, and we'll continue our speeches there.
She was talking about the Iraq veterans against the war who have had sit-ins in 3 cities. That's who she was talking about.